Well, I just got out of the theater from seeing Joker 2, which is what I will call it because my French sucks. And I know that I will have the unpopular opinion at this point amongst YouTubers, but I really like this movie and everything it did. There have been a ton of negative reviews for this film since it was released earlier this week. Some say it was an unnecessary movie, that no one wanted it. Some have issues with the ending. The comments range from trying to replace the Joker with Harley to having Arthur do things that are so out of character that it destroys everything built in the first film. And still others see the film as a total deconstruction of the character and, well, as one article put it, a giant FU to the fans of the original. It breaks canon, which, duh, the first Joker broke canon and we loved it. Batman 1989 broke canon, and that film is legendary. The Dark Knight trilogy broke canon at times, and we loved that too. So breaking canon is fine when it is done for narrative purposes, which is the case for Joker 2. So get over it. And yes, it was a slow-paced, slow burn of a film. But so was the first film. Other critics will state that the first film was building up to something, that the sequel was not. But again, I totally disagree, and I'll get to that in a minute. But first, a spoiler warning because, yes, I know the ending leaked online already, but some of you may not have seen it, and it will be impossible to address or offer any counter to the negativity surrounding this film without getting into some details. However, before we get to those, if you could take a moment to like, subscribe, share, and comment, we really appreciate it. That really helps out the channel each and every week. Okay, Joker 2. What is important to know going into this film is that this is less a sequel and more of a continuation, and that these films could be edited together to make one long story. And if you remember from your high school English classes, most stories have an intro, followed by rising action, then a climax, which is the end of the original Joker. Then we have falling action and a denouement, another French term for basically tying it all up at the end. Joker 2 is the falling action and the denouement of this much larger story. A story, by the way, that Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix had no interest in making. They were adamant about not wanting to do a sequel. It was the fans and the studios that made it happen. So to the voices out there saying that no one wanted the sequel, you are absolutely wrong. There was immediate talk of a sequel in the media, and it took a lot of money and a lot of convincing of Phillips and Phoenix to do it. Now remember, at the end of Joker, Arthur Fleck fully embraced his alter ego, the clown-faced psychopath. It's safe to say that Arthur Fleck was gone at that point. But if you remember, Arthur's biggest need and want in the first film was to be seen, to be noticed. He certainly was seen and noticed after killing Murray Franklin, but as we rejoin Arthur in Joker 2, something is different. Everyone around him is treating him like his alter ego, the Joker. From the media, to his fans, to the Arkham guards, and to his eventual love interest, Harley Quinzel, played by Lady Gaga, everyone addresses him or looks at him as Joker, not Arthur Fleck. And as the film goes on, there is something very different about Arthur while he's in jail. He is not Joker, he is Arthur. He has begun to reclaim himself because he feels seen and heard at this point. And notice that unless it is a dream sequence or until the final act, Arthur does not put on clown makeup. At a couple of points, Harley puts it on for him, but Arthur does not initiate that or even ask for it. As part of this falling action, Arthur is in the midst of trying to reassert himself above that Joker character. He does not want to be the Joker anymore. He just wants to be seen as Arthur. The problem is, no one wants Arthur. They all want the Joker, even the ones who hate him. And it seems the only one who understands this is his lawyer, who even admonishes Patty, the news journalist interviewing him, not to call him Joker, that his name is Arthur. The guards try to get Arthur to tell them jokes, but he doesn't because he wants to be Arthur. And Harley, who is the worst kind of person in this film, is obsessed with Joker because she sees him in a way to perpetuate her own fantasies, to leech off of Joker and become something more than what she really is. She is annexing the madness for celebrity status. She gives interviews on behalf of Arthur. She follows Joker t-shirt sales, even publicly argues with Arthur's lawyer about the defense strategy, because the lawyer is trying to present Arthur and she wants her to present Joker. Harley is shown throughout to be an extremely manipulative person, never having the best interest of Arthur in mind, but only hers. She is a compulsive liar. She lies about her commitment to Arkham. She lies about her parents. She lies about her birthplace. And she lies about how many times she's watched the Arthur Fleck made-for-TV movie. And she's unapologetic about it. And she literally gaslights everyone into magnifying this cult of personality that is Joker. She never speaks on behalf of Arthur's humanity. And when you break it all down, Arthur is again a victim. Instead of his mother defining him, as she did in the original Joker, and we get some of that again in the trial as it occurs, because they bring back Sophie from the first film to talk about how Arthur's mother demeaned him, it is now the media, the courts, the DA, Harvey Dent, the crowds cheering for Joker, the guards, and the general public that are now defining Arthur as the Joker. They are in control, and that is something that Arthur so desperately wants to take command of. But again, the conflict inside him is that Arthur wants to be himself. He does not want to be the Joker. For him, he just wants to live a happy life with Harley and move on. Unfortunately, the world around Arthur won't let that happen. And it is Sophie's testimony that exposes Arthur to the public in a way that is so embarrassing in that moment, he reverts back to Joker because he is incapable of hearing the naked truth about himself or having others hear it as well. So he gives them what they want. And in that final act, he dons the clown makeup and we get Joker. Because as Joker, he feels in control. As Joker, he feels like he's the person steering the ship. What Phillips and Phoenix are doing is the exact reverse of what occurred in the Joker, where you go from Arthur to the Joker. Because if this story is to be balanced with a sense of reality, then it only makes sense that a figure like the Joker would eventually fall away, and the second film would be going from Joker to Arthur, back to the beginning. And what do I mean by that? If you look at history, cult leaders, certain dictators like Mussolini, even some of our biggest entertainment stars, all start to get lost in the role they are projecting, whether it be messianic or infallibility or all-knowing or all-controlling through propaganda. Joker is that mold of character. He has a cult. He has a public projection of himself that can do no wrong in the eyes of his followers. And Arthur, being of low IQ, cannot distinguish between authentic appreciation for who he is and zealots that are also lost in the larger-than-life personality of Joker. And like all the others throughout history, once they are either exposed, like Arthur is, or they can no longer maintain their own illusion within themselves, such as Arthur cannot, there will be consequences. Deconstruction? Yes, but it is the only logical pathway for this character to take. And what are the consequences? Well, spoiler alert, because we're going to be very specific about the ending, the Joker takes over his own defense. He's fired his lawyer because she's trying to present Arthur to the world. And Harley has convinced him, along with his own securities, that presenting Arthur is only harming him in his image, and the best way is to present Joker and let them see the madness. The mask of the Joker is a mental defense mechanism that allows Arthur to act confidently and do and say what he wants. It is the primary purpose for his whole fantasy world. But the Joker does not last long because his first and only witness to cross-examine is Gary Puddles, the dwarf from the first film who witnessed Arthur murder Randall. Joker is treating him very harshly as he testifies, making him relive that day. And Gary is absolutely traumatized from witnessing Randall's murder. He cannot sleep, he cannot work, he is frightened every day of everything. He is a completely destroyed man. But he manages to speak out to Arthur, crying as he states, Arthur was his only friend, the only one who did not make fun of him. Why did he do what he did? Why did he make his life this way? That he feels so helpless now and so vulnerable. Now, Joker may have murdered Randall, but he also turned Gary's life into a living hell for someone who never did any harm to Arthur ever. And here is where the Joker facade begins to fall away permanently. For his harsh words on TV about the Arkham guards, Arthur is brutally beaten by them when he arrives back that night. And that experience of absolute fear and helplessness, coupled with Gary's emotional words to Arthur in the courtroom, is enough to flip that switch back. Arthur no longer sees what he's done as the Joker as moral or justified. He sees the horror of it all. The next day for closing arguments, Arthur speaks to the jury. Even though he's still in Joker garb and makeup, it is Arthur making a statement that he is in control, that he is Arthur Fleck, not the Joker, and he takes full responsibility for his crimes and tells the jury that there is no Joker, it's all made up. After that, Harley leaves the courtroom. The jury deliberates for only an hour or so, and as they come back with guilty verdicts, a car bomb explodes outside the courthouse. Arthur is rescued by a couple of his followers, but he escapes them because he doesn't want to be the Joker. He only wants a quiet life with Lee. Being Joker is just as bad as being locked up again. Later on, Arthur, still on the run, finds Lee at the now infamous staircase. He walks halfway up to meet her, and to his surprise, she rejects him. Because he ruined the fantasy. She is in love with the Joker, not Arthur Fleck. She wants to remain in that fantasy world, which is why she ascends to the top of the staircase, a metaphoric way of choosing fantasy over reality. And Arthur does not. Instead, he waits for the police to take him back to Arkham. knowing that going with Lee means being someone he's no longer comfortable being. And in a strange way, Arthur knows that Lee is in love with the Joker and not him throughout the entire film. Every musical dream sequence is Harley and Joker, not Lee and Arthur. As well, each dream/musical number is Arthur retreating from being exposed or humiliated. Patty the journalist looks to embarrass him. Arthur slips into a dream with Harley. Harvey Dent is speaking about him on TV in a disparaging way. Arthur slips into a dream sequence. Now, many YouTubers see this final scene on the staircase as Harley replacing the Joker, which I just don't see. I did not get that take. What I saw was Harley, a sick and self-centered individual upset with Arthur because he will not give her the life she wants. It's the end of a toxic relationship, one that Arthur is now free from. If there is a hint of Harley becoming the new Joker, then I think it's a stretch of the interpretation of the film. Now, the ultimate end of Arthur is his apparent death. He's stabbed by another inmate who repeats his famous line, "You get what you effing deserve." And this is because the inmate is an obvious believer in Joker. And now that Arthur has stripped that all away, when God is exposed for being a false god in front of his followers, some of those followers are gonna be pissed. And in this case, kill their false god. And with that, the film ends the only way I think it can, with Arthur being his own final victim. The psychosis and mass hysteria that he helped to create by feeding into the alter ego of Joker claimed him as collateral damage when Arthur finally ended the myth live on TV. In my opinion, Joker 2 is everything I could have wanted from the continuation of a well-crafted, deep dive into how one slips into madness. I believe Phoenix and Phillips and Gaga delivered something special. Do I think it's as good as the first film? No, but it's damn close. It's the other side of the coin. The film looks great. The musical score is as good as the first. The musical numbers with Gaga and Phoenix are on the money and really drive Arthur's inner conflict. The set designs are wonderful. And the pacing, another slow burn to an ending that makes sense. The first was a slow burn to the emergence of Joker as the king of Gotham's forgotten citizens. The ending to Joker 2 is a slow burn to the tragic downfall of that king at the very hands of Gotham's forgotten citizens. Aided, of course, by corrupt institutions as the media and the law. But, again, rising action, falling action. So yes, I might be in the total minority here, but Joker 2 is the sequel we asked for in 2019. It is a story about Arthur Fleck, not Harley Quinzel. It is a deconstruction of the character, but it is in no way disrespectful to the original film. And to top it all off, this is one of my favorite films released this year. I think the negative press it has garnered is a bunch of knee-jerk reactions and, dare I say, predetermined biases from leaks and rumors online. But for me, from beginning to end, I enjoyed every minute of it. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you've seen Joker 2, what did you think? Were you satisfied or disappointed? And if so, why were you disappointed? I hope you enjoyed this video and I thank you for watching. If you want more movie reviews and commentary, click on the thumbnails at the end for my movie review playlist and my retro movie review playlist. And remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo from somewhere south of the border. Salud and a huevo.